now live. I was live before, but now I'm live on Instagram. How are you, everybody? Crazy times, topsy-turvy. I hope you are healthy and happy. We're going live to Instagram. Facebook broke, so we will be recording this and putting it on Facebook as well. I'm here with my colleague, the one and only Taylor Harrington. Taylor, how are you today?
Doing well. Happy Tuesday.
Same to you. What are we here to talk about?
Yeah, so today we're going to talk about resilience, mastery, and the launch of the Freelancers Workshop. It's back. So we'll get started there, and as always, taking questions in the comments.
Terrific. Well, just so we can make this really clear, we are thinking of you. We see you out there. We know a lot of people are in a tough spot. This is going to be a slog, but like all slogs, there is another side. And we are not going to let down our passion and persistence in helping you get ready for the other side of that slog. So we're eager to talk to you today about what it means to be a freelancer, about what it means to step up and do the work. And if you're in a place where you can devote some time to the Freelancers Workshop, I really hope you'll check it out. It's at thefreelancersworkshop.com. It is not a course. It is not just a bunch of videos. All the Akimbo workshops are about interaction and about helping you see you and your work, but you can go check that out. Today we're going to take your questions. If you got one, just go ahead and put it in the comments. Taylor's been prepping for this, so I'm going to let her have the microphone. Back to you.
All right, cool. Should we start with our first question, or you want to?
Well, I want to do a little bit of a rant, but I wanted to make sure I wasn't pre-ranting too much.
No, you can go ahead and rant. It's never too early for a pre-rant.
Terrific. And if you want to see Taylor, she'll be showing up in the Facebook recording of this thing. We haven't figured out how to make Insta do both of us well at the same time. So no offense to you or to Taylor or to anybody else. It's just the way the thing works. What does it mean to be a freelancer? I've been a freelancer since 1986. Been working at home off and on since 1986. 24 years of experience at sheltering in place. You can do it. But being a freelancer teaches each of us a kind of resilience that the typical wage earner doesn't get used to, which is gigs come and gigs go. And when we are busy, we don't have time to look for a new gig. And so when the gigs go away, suddenly we're in the desert. I've been in the desert for 8 months, 9 months in a row, and it's hard. It's hard because the people around you might not believe in you and where you're going. It's hard because you got to figure out how to pay the bills. It's hard to engage with the marketplace when you're afraid that there's never going to be another gig. And so if you've been a freelancer for a while, you're used to this idea that the market freezes up, that the world changes. So what to do about it? Well, there are a couple choices. One choice is to lower your price, to become the cheapest, to become the first one that comes up when we sort by price. The problem with that is you're still not going to get enough gigs. And the bigger problem with that is you still get the same number of hours per week. You cannot make up for lowering your price by increasing your volume, because the amount of volume you have is limited by your time. So what's the alternative? The alternative is to realize that for the next few weeks, there just aren't going to be any good gigs. When people aren't just sheltering in place, but in a ball under their desk, freaking out, nobody is reaching out for cutting-edge freelance work, whether you're a wedding photographer, a musician, or somebody who can edit a video like nobody else. But this window is a chance to do plan 2. And plan 2, which should be plan 1, is to become a master of your craft. Not just to be truly, really, really good at it, better than almost anyone, but to be seen as the person who is that, to be seen as the person who has real chops, the one and only, to become idiosyncratic in service of being particular, because there are people who want to hire the one and only you, not one where there's many replacements for you, but one where you're the one. And it is that path that is open to each of us. I've been saying this for 30 years, and for 28 years people were just going, yeah, whatever, I'll just make my listing on eWork or whatever, Upwork. But no, now people are starting to realize if you act like a commodity, you are a commodity. And if you're a commodity, don't be surprised if you are disrespected and underpaid. Our work is to stop being a commodity and to start being a specific. And this is your window to practice that. And when Taylor and I go into the details, we'll go into some of those. But hang in there. This slog is a slog whether you want it to be or not. Whether you lower your prices or not, it's just the phone's not going to ring this week. So what are you going to do instead? Because fretting, not helpful. Okay, over to you, Taylor.
That was definitely a rant, not a riff. Okay, cool. Well, that actually feeds in really well to a question that I'm loving right now. This is from Poe, and he said, I'm at a crossroads where before everything changed in the world, I kept saying I'll get to do the freelance work I love one day soon. And now I'm realizing that day may be farther away than I anticipated. The problem is I tell myself to do the easy jobs, the one that pay well, but then I never get to do the ones that I actually love doing because I keep saying next time. Next time when I can afford to do a job for low cost or free, I'll do it.
Right. So the first thing, the reality check is there anyone else in the world who's making a decent living doing the work you want to do? Because if you want to be a millionaire macrame maker, I think you're a little delusional. You just can't. That's a hobby. Go for it. Make all the beautiful macrame you can make. But don't trick yourself into thinking that the world will see you and line up to pay you well to be a freelance macrame expert. What we're talking about here is this. If I need some audio edited, I can find 1,000 people who can edit audio for me pretty well. But if I need the Akimbo podcast to be built with heart and soul so that I can make it what I want it to be, I need Alex DePalma, the one and only Alex DePalma. And Alex DePalma earns what she does because she's not just moving bits around on the screen. That is a commodity. What is not a commodity is relationships, stories, and magic. These are things that we get to do on purpose, but we don't do them if we say to the client, give me a list of all the things you need me to do. I'll do them as fast and cheap as I can. No. What you got to do is say, this is the way I do this work. That if you look at a book cover that Chip Kidd has designed, the most fabled book designer of our generation, it looks like Chip Kidd made the book cover. If you want a book cover that could be made by anyone, don't call Chip, because he costs too much for that. But if you want a Chip Kidd book cover, go do that.
All right, cool. Yeah, that's a great point. So this one, I really like the middle part of it. So Adrian asked on Instagram, Seth, how do we market when the market has completely changed? I sell into the floral market, and it's basically dead right now. How do we change the conversation, which is the part I love, so that people start buying flowers again?
Right. So we have to be careful to distinguish between market behaviors that give us comfort and market postures that give us an opportunity to do our work. So people who used to run an independent bookstore like the structure of an independent bookstore and curse all of us, including me, who went to Amazon instead. And people who are dependent on a certain kind of flow of a certain kind of flower transaction are correctly saying, we miss that. We wish it would come back. And it will come back someday, but it might not come back the same way. But the market posture of being seen, of transacting in the service of making things better, that's going to come back way faster. And so the flexibility that we get as freelancers, as individuals who don't have to pay for a big warehouse and a big factory, is to say, all right, are there humans in the world who I can earn their trust? Are there humans in the world who have a problem that needs to be solved? Are there humans in the world who, if I can solve that problem better than anyone else, will eagerly connect with me? That's the opportunity. Because every time the world shifts, some people end up on the broken end of it, and some people see that there's an opportunity. So when I was in the book packaging business, CD-ROMs came along. And CD-ROMs were like books, but with way more information, and it was harder to code. And a lot of people in the book packaging industry freaked out because they said, I don't want publishers spending time and money on CD-ROMs. Please go back to illustrated books. And I said, well, you're going to need someone to make CD-ROMs. I'll go do that. And so I did for a while, and we were really good at it. But no one bought CD-ROMs, so it disappeared. That bummed me out, right? And so then you have to shift again. And the shift was, oh, here comes AOL, here comes CompuServe. What do they need? Can I be good at something they do, earning a new reputation on top of the reputation I already have? And so what I want freelancers to do is stop being victims and start being in charge. Be in charge of how you're going to spend your day and be in charge of what you will master. Because we need a lot from you right now. It just might not be what you used to do.
All right, I'm like toggling my speaker view, my mute.
I know, there's all these people flying by with these great questions.
I know, there's so many questions today. It's overwhelming. We've got a lot of freelancers tuning in. This one is from Pa Stapleton. He said that he's a photographer in a small city in Ireland, and he's wondering how important it is to be in a big urban area to get better clients.
Right. Love this question. First, just a reminder, we'd love you to save some money. There's a little purple circle at thefreelancersworkshop.com. It's a secret. Don't tell anybody. If you click on the purple circle, you save a whole bunch of money. Thefreelancersworkshop.com.
And if you're just tuning in to the live, we are talking today about resilience and mastery and freelancing. And we're also launching the Freelancers Workshop today. It is the third session of it.
Because it works.
Very exciting. Yes, it works. So if you want to learn more about that, thefreelancersworkshop.com.
Okay, so freelance photographer in rural Ireland, County Wicklow or something like that. Do you need to move to central London? Well, in my experience, there are two kinds of photography. There's the photography where you need to take a picture of a human, and there's the photography where you don't. And if it's the photography where you don't, then it doesn't matter where you are. If it's the photography where you have to be next to the person you're taking a picture of, it helps to be next to people who are willing to pay to have their picture taken. And so the opportunity is to figure out not, do I have a camera? Because everyone has a camera now. If you're watching this, you have a camera. Having a camera is no longer sufficient installation for a photographer. Challenge is, what and how do you take pictures with a point of view where I can tell without seeing your name on the picture that you took it? Who are you organizing? How are you making that organization happen so that people will happily get on your waiting list to get a one and only picture from you? And that is the leap, that the number of frustrated, underemployed photographers is very high. It was very high 6 weeks ago. And Dane Sanders has written a great book about this. I suggest you check it out, about wedding photography. It's all about understanding what people buy when they buy something from you. Who exactly are your customers and why did they decide to buy from you? It is possible as a photographer to triple your rates and create a waiting list for your work, but only by being specific, by standing for something, by going through that difficult valley of the dip to the other side where you are the one and only. And if you were ever going to do it, this is the time to do it.
All right, so that word leap came up a couple of times, and I think it ties in really well to Puneeth's question. So Puneeth is actually a podcasting fellowship alumni from our first podcasting fellowship, and now he's at a different point in his podcasting career. So he has a new question, and he says, I'm afraid to convert the podcast that he currently has to a solo show as the upcoming interviews have been canceled. How can I take the leap as part of me is feeling doubtful and incapable?
Right. So this goes back to resilience. What does it mean to be resilient? Here is what is not resilient. A Rydell glassware $28 brandy snifter. Not resilient. It is either perfect or it is broken into 1,000 pieces. You can't just toss it into the dishwasher and hope that it will come out fine. On the other hand, a 1959 catcher's mitt is pretty resilient. It's made it this far, it will keep going. As long as you don't leave it out in the rain, your catcher's mitt will probably be okay tomorrow. And a freelancer's career is a lot more like a catcher's mitt. Freelancer's career is all about the fact that failure is not fatal because we lose clients all the time. In the last 2 months, I've had more speaking gigs canceled than I have ever had on my calendar at once because I decided 2020 was going to be the year of the world tour. I made a blog post about it. I made clothing with the logo on it. They're all gone, right? That's what happens, even at this late stage in my career. They're here, and then they're gone. But I'm still at it because the game will keep changing. That is what it means to be a soloist and a freelancer. So let's see what would happen if you did a podcast with no guest. Would everyone unsubscribe? All of them? Really? I think that's unlikely. Why don't you find out? And do you have so many people who are currently subscribers that it's that big a risk? Probably not. And so, if you want to be idiosyncratic, particular, the one seeking out, you also must embrace the fact that you will be wrong sometimes. You will be wrong often. And my argument in 2020 is, what better moment than now to blow it when no one's looking and no one's paying you? That's the opportunity.
Out of all of that, the part that pops out is how bummed I am about the sweatshirts. I mean, we're going to have to take like a Sharpie and write 2021 maybe on them.
I threw out almost all of them yesterday.
Really? Well, luckily I have one at home.
I know. You have a collector's item.
I needed to snag it. Okay, so here's a question. It was actually on a comment from yesterday's Instagram, and it just spoke to me, and I think that it would be cool to hear just a riff from you. It's not even a question, it's just a thought. So it's from DFG Coaching, and this is on the Instagram that was, what was the question? Is everything going to be okay?
Right.
And he said, what is the lesson in this crisis right now that I'm not yet understanding? And so I didn't know if you want to riff on that, because I think that's a question a lot of people are considering in their own form of reporting.
Yeah, there are two lessons, I think. I'll start with the downer lesson first, because it's not really a downer. It's just true. And the downer lesson is we're all going to die. And spending a lot of time pretending you're not going to die is stupid. It's a waste of time. Not one person has gotten out of this whole thing alive. Not one person out of the billions and billions of people on Earth has not died sooner or later. So the flip side of that is everyone has a chance to contribute. You have a chance to contribute. And your job is not to just do your job until one day you don't get to do it anymore, because then what happens? No, your job is to do more than your job and to contribute. Now maybe you can't contribute by going down to the hospital and risking your life the way so many brave medical professionals are doing it. And my heart goes out to them. And I'm in awe of my friend Jody and her peers who are contributing so much. But that doesn't mean you can't contribute nothing. Our friend in the floral business from 4 questions ago, who's organizing the conversation that's happening every day from 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. from all the out-of-work florists? Who's hosting the Zoom room, inviting them in, figuring out a way to connect them? Why not you? Right? That the chances to contribute are huge. And you have the means of production right here. You're holding it in your hand, watching us. And so my whole mission for more than 20 years, certainly since Linchpin, has been to say, wait a minute. Step up, speak up, here's the microphone, organize people, and lead us. You don't have to lead 10,000 people, you can lead 10 people. Do it with particulars. Don't do it in a blameless, conforming, I learned how to behave in 9th grade method. Do it in a way that's you and only you. Because if not now, when? This is your big chance. You have nothing else to do. Lead. That was a rant.
Right. Yeah, that was a rant. So we have a question from someone that I'm so excited about right now, Andy Grammer. I've seen him in concert, I think, 5 different times. So this is a really cool moment for me to read his question. And he's actually done some really cool things on video on the internet, like with things that were before this time. So he had a really cool music video called Honey I'm Good, where he brought a bunch of couples together to sing different parts. So anyone who needs to smile, it's a great video. But anyway, so this question from Andy In times like this that are so drastically volatile, are you more focused on the offense or the defense?
Okay, a sports analogy and a music question, all in one.
All in one.
Offense and defense. Resilience means you're going to get to play again tomorrow. If you don't get to play again tomorrow, you're out. And that's one of the fascinating things about the NCAA March Madness Final Four, is one game, you're out. And smart coaches in those situations understand that you don't get to fool around because you got to get to the next game. But freelancers aren't playing in the Final Four. And at the end of every day, a decision is not made, are you in or you out? Because you're probably going to get to play again tomorrow. So the question is a defensive mindset causing you to let the resistance win? Is a defensive mindset causing you to curl up in a ball under your desk and wait till it's all over? Because that's not defense. Not at all. In a situation like this, when the economy is frozen and when we are all worried about people we care about, offense and defense are the same thing. And what does the same thing mean? It means you don't waste a lot of time and you don't waste a lot of money. But you do dig in really hard to build leverage for the next thing. If 2 months from now, when the economy starts waking up, you're just like you were now, but 2 months older, you're behind. Because a lot of people are going to spend these 2 months leveling up, mastering their craft, becoming full stack developers, figuring out how to put work into the world without permission. Go, let's say you do graphic design. Go find a cause you believe in, a charity, and just redo all their work. Just redo it. And when you're done, put it in the world or send it to them. Don't ask, just do it. If you want to make a name for yourself in electronic dance music, don't wait to get booked for a gig in Las Vegas when Las Vegas reopens. Plan your own event. Make your own thing. Put it into the world. That's what we've been lining up to do anyway, right? The fact is that the Rick Rubins and the I just forgot all the names of all the people in the music industry I want to tell you about. They're not going to call you and pick you. They're not going to call you and pick you because they're busy doing something else. Pick yourself. Put it into the world. And it's not going to be very good, and then make it better, right? And so this idea of choosing to measure yourself against what you are capable of, not what your last client demanded, levels you up. And the punchline of the Freelancers Workshop, whether you can take it or not, at thefreelancersworkshop.com, the punchline is super simple. 3 words. Get better clients. That's the only way to move up as a freelancer. Get better clients. And better clients demand more from you. They pay on time. They pay well. They tell other people about you. But better clients don't hire just anybody. They hire the kind of freelancer who attracts better clients.
All right, cool. So going back to another one of the kind of quotes that is used a lot, not necessarily on the Freelancers Workshop, but I know it is for the creatives, is this idea of mastering a craft, mastering your craft. So Dayton says, do you believe that someone can truly master a skill?
I think you can master a skill more than most of the other available options for the people that you are seeking to work with and for. So, is it possible to become a perfect juggler of sharp knives? No. But you can be the best available juggler for when someone wants to hire a juggler. And the idea of best available is key. Because why would anyone hire someone who wasn't the best available? For whatever we need to do on the internet, that's what we pick. The best available one. What does it mean to be the best available one? Well, if we're going to hire someone to edit this video, best available might mean, who will I tell my peers I hired? Will they be proud of me? Best available might mean this person is 10 times faster than anybody else. Best available might mean the customer service they offer me is so over the top that my problem goes away and I don't have to worry it anymore. And on and on and on. There are lots of ways to be the best available one, but because our culture pushes us to be not weird and in the middle, most of us are, yeah, we're good at this and we're good at this and under the circumstances and for the price and then, well, then you're a commodity. And there's lots of commodities. When I go to buy aluminum foil, whichever one's on sale, that's what I want, because all aluminum foil feels the same to me. I'm not an aluminum foil aficionado. Just give me close and cheap. That's no way for you to build your career. You want to be the option that people who have a choice pick. And that is what you're able to do.
All right, cool. So Creighton just said that a lot of his speeches have also been moved online, his gigs. So what are your suggestions for now having to take what would have been a physical stage and bringing it online?
I'm going to save this for a particular essay. I think we'll post it on Medium, Taylor. You and I have been talking about this, but the math of live events is totally different. And since most of the people who are engaging in this aren't in that business, I'm not going to distract them, but I have been thinking about this for a long time. I think taking a talk and just trying to cram it into a medium like this without changing it doesn't do anybody any benefits.
All right, cool. We'll take two more questions. People are sad that the collectible items of your sweatshirts have been donated. All right, cool. So this question is from Louise. She says, do you have any advice for those who are driven to create and normally work from home but have kids here 24/7 now?
Yeah, I was a full-time dad for a lot of years. Kids 24/7 is such a gift. You won't have kids 24/7 forever. I hope that you can engage fully, and those kids are lucky to have you. I'd say a couple things. First of all, yes, we built this mindset for 150 years that when you leave the house, you do work, and when you come home, you're not doing work. And that division enabled us to dive into our work in a way that can preserve our sanity. And now it's harder to do that because you don't want to say to a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old, I'm sorry, I'm off duty now, go away. But this idea of building physical distinction with your work, I think is really important. And you probably don't have enough childcare, who does? You probably don't have enough support, who does? But to do this work at the level you want to do it, you may need to get some or figure out how to make that part of it work. Or it may be you're just going to have to take a 6-week sabbatical and not even pretend. But physical distance is one part of it. And then the second part is that one of the gifts that we are giving kids right now is the ability to be free-range kids. I hope we don't take that gift away by parking them in front of an iPad. That what it means to be a free-range kid is that you will be much better at being bored. Being bored is a life skill. And what happens when people are bored is they find a way to contribute and they find a way to invent. And so even though it's really challenging at first to teach kids to be okay with figuring out on their own how to solve a problem that doesn't have an answer and figuring out on their own how to do something that was fun and worth doing, what a gift to be able to give your kids. So yeah, it's going to be a challenge for every parent, and it's going to be an interruption, but your kids are going to be able to be okay, and modeling for them what it's like to be resilient in the face of change is another gift you can give them.
Yeah, I think that's really important. All right, we'll take this last question. This is from Bianca, and then we'll finish with a little final riff about the workshop. But Bianca said, how do we use empathy to the financial stresses of clients while presenting solutions to our clients?
Right. Okay, so a couple things. If you have a client who is not the owner of the company, please understand that their problem is not money. Their problem is, what does their boss think? And those are two different things. And sometimes the boss only cares about money. Often the boss will care about money if it's a commodity. Because if two things are the same and you can't tell them apart, buy me the cheap one, please. And so as we work with organizations that are stressed about money, yes, we need the practical empathy of realizing they're not seeing what we're seeing. They're not under the stress we're under. But it is possible to be generous without being free. It is possible to set clients up for future success without giving away everything that you do. That your clients are paying bills, many of them, and you might be one of those bills that they pay. But they're going to prioritize those bills based on what will help them get to where they want to go. And so as we do our work as freelancers, we have to, yes, make sure our clients are also resilient and getting to the other side along with us. But we have to do it in a way that a professional can do it, which is if we're not here to serve you next month, you're not doing anybody any favors. So what is it to, again, be particular, to not be a commodity, to be somebody who sees them and hears them and helps them get to where they want to go? Because if you are indispensable in that journey, then you will become a partner for the long haul. And some of the people I've worked with for many, many years, we worked together because back when they needed something, I was there for them, and vice versa. That relationships are at the core of this. If it's not relationships, if it's just a search engine, you already lost. So what it's about is treating people the way you hope you'll be treated when you're in their shoes. And it's about being a specific and being so confident that you can contribute something, not just because you said you could, but because you actually can, that you can walk in with that posture.
All right, so we'll wrap it up here. The Freelancers Workshop is 60 days. It's open now for registration, and next Tuesday, I believe, April 6th, whatever that is. That's a Tuesday, right? Monday? I don't know. All the days are jumbled now. But April 6th is the last day to sign up. If you want to sign up, there is a special discount. If you click the purple circle on our website, it decreases in value over time, though. So today is the best day to click it. And Seth, can you just talk a little bit about why now? What's, just to wrap it up, why now? Why should someone take the Freelancers Workshop at this time?
Right. Some people shouldn't because money's tight and the world is crazy. But if you are ready to redefine what it is you do when you show up in the world, to get paid fairly and to attract better clients, then this seems like a really good moment. That's why we only postponed it a week before we relaunched it, because in the next 60 days, I want to help you see things differently. I want to connect you with hundreds of other people who are on that same journey. In the workshops we run, people are finding in the last 3 weeks that it's a bane, it's a balm, not a bane, it's a balm, it's a solace, it's a chance to see and be seen without panicking. And so we're eager to find people who are ready to see what others see in them and to level up. I know that my life changed when I decided to be a different kind of freelancer. It changed fundamentally. And I made this workshop for me 20 years ago. Unfortunately, I couldn't take it 20 years ago. It was a long, hard slog to figure it out. But if we can help turn on lights for you, we're thrilled to do so. And I also want to thank Taylor. Taylor, you have just been on fire and leading us so brilliantly. Your secret project launches in a couple weeks, and I'm excited about that. But thank you for making this all work. Thanks for Rohan for offering to help us with the LinkedIn thing. We will be on Facebook soon, and we hope to have all of our social media things in place day by day. Keep making this ruckus. Hang in there. You are resilient, and we will get to the other side. So thank you.
Thank you, guys.